Hello and welcome to your weather forecast for June 16th, 2025. We have now passed on to the second half of the month, and things are looking quite concerning as we head into the middle portion of this week. And after that, it looks like we might even have a heat wave in the east part of the US. So, with all that to say, let's get right into it. First of all, I do want to start with our Jetstream today. And the reason is because we are going to have a different part of our jet stream coming in as we head into Tuesday. Today we're going to have a small severe weather part over here in the northern plains. And Tuesday is really where this gets started as we have a small disturbance here. But especially as we get into Wednesday, this is where it gets kind of concerning, as we have an actual trough here that is going to allow for a lot of storms to convect and build a line or discrete supercells. It is still a little bit unsure, but it's mostly likely going to be a hail or wind threat, as the tornado threat during this time of year is usually a lot less. And after that, we're going to move into the weekend, and we're going to start seeing this heat bubble that is building in the west, and that is going to move east. And then we're going to even allow this to go even more. And this is going to be a ring of fire setup, as we're going to have all sorts of storms track along this boundary here, and a lot fewer over here where there's nothing here. This is going to be mostly a high pressure area, and we'll get to whatever conditions might actually happen over here in a little bit, but is going to be a lot less significant than we had let's say early June. And we're actually going to continue to have this. And looking further out, this does look kind of significant, but again, that is a little far out. And eventually, it looks like this pattern will change and allow some sort of cooler air to get into the area that is going to be quite hot. And it seems like after that, we're not quite sure what is actually going to happen. So here's what our radar over the next little bit is going to look like. So this is our North American model 12-kilometer resolution. I'm using a 12-kilometer because this is the most resolution that can go out to Wednesday. Our 3-kilometer has more detail, but it doesn't go far out enough. So here is what it is showing here. We are seeing some storms develop over here in the plains today, and we're going to see it kind of be mostly minor in a couple of storms. But as we head into tomorrow, is going to be one of our bigger days, and we're actually going to see the development over here. Anywhere between Illinois and Kansas, our low pressure is going to form. And this is going to cause 2 days of severe weather. One over here in the Central Plains, and another one over here in the Great Lakes region. And this is the one I'm most concerned for sure. And after that, we're going to have some sort of severe weather over here on the East Coast. So let's look at what that could look like. Now, continuing after Wednesday, here is what it looks like on a GFS. We're going to see some more storms pop up over here further east, most likely Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all the way up into New Hampshire area, Vermont, that kind of thing. And after that, we're going to start to see it really calm down. We might have some sort of convective system over here on Saturday as we head through the middle of the day. But after that, we're going to see a lot of our stuff set up over here in the north, and is going to allow for some pretty significant wind events potentially over here, and potentially come into Canada as well. As well as this, we're going to see maybe some storms over here in the southeast, but is going to stay relatively less. And just to note, this tropical area has been an area we've been looking at for a little bit, but I don't think this will form. The GFS is always picking up on other things. Now, even the European is showing the same thing. As we head into Wednesday, we're having our one big system. This one does expand it further south as well as into Michigan. And I do think that this is definitely possible. Further south is definitely going to be more of a wind threat, though, and less of whatever else is coming. And again, we do see those storms there. And here's our potential, couple storms here before our Ring of Fire setup really does happen. And we're going to see a lot of our stuff just up here in the upper Midwest here. And potentially moving into the Northeast. And slowly that will start to move to the south as our pattern will move out as we head into late June. Now, probably one of the most interesting things is what is going to happen after this system on Wednesday. After this, we are going to see our bulge of heat move out of the west, which is kind of the first time this has actually happened this month. And we're actually going to see generally below average temperatures over there. And we're going to see well above average temperatures over here in the east. And eventually it will start to move out. And this is what those temperatures could look like. We're going to continue to see 100-degree temperatures over here in the southwest over the next week or so. And maybe finally we can move into low 100 degrees and maybe even 90-degree highs for at least a little bit. But it looks like as we move into early next week, we're going to see 100-degree temperatures over here in the plains. Now, this is going to be a pretty hot scorcher, if you tell me. And then this is going to slowly move east. And a lot of our areas are actually going to be up in the 90s for the first time this whole year. And this heat wave is going to continue. And finally, it might actually cool off. Now, this is not the only model that is actually showing this kind of heat. And even more significant, our European model is also showing pretty significant heat as we head into the week next week. We're going to see quite significant stuff over here. And not only that, but as we head into Sunday, June 22nd, which is 2 Sundays from now. Nope. Sorry, not 2 Sundays from now. That is one Sunday. That is next Sunday. We're going to see all this stuff really bubble up into a multi-day heat wave here. And European is showing it a lot more significant than the GFS. But again, like the GFS, it is showing that afterward, probably around middle of next week, we're going to see this finally start to cool down. Now, I'm not the only one that agrees with this because the Climate Prediction Center has also released a well above average temperature outlook over here for 6 days from now to 10 days from now, which I think is going to be the main days of this heat wave. And that is going to be mostly situated over here, most in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And then we're going to, don't forget West Virginia. I'm not forgetting you guys. And then we're going to actually be most likely significant below average over here in the West for the first time this month. So definitely a big shift that is going to be coming after we have these storms this week. Now, with our storms, we do have a significant outlook today. We have 2 enhanced risks. We have one over here in central Nebraska and another one over here in Minnesota. Now, only this one in Minnesota is driven by partially tornadoes. We do have a 5% tornado risk there. Our 2% risk does stretch back through the plains over into Montana, but the main tornado threat is going to be over there. Now, our wind threat is actually not going to be situated over here. Our wind threat is going to be mostly situated over here in Nebraska, which is why we do have that enhanced risk over here. But again, tornadoes and hail usually happen in similar places, and this is actually showing what that could actually mean. We have a pretty similar outlook to where our tornadoes could be. We could see some significant hail as well. And we do have an area in southwestern Minnesota that does have a 30% hatched risk. Our hatched risk does go down into southeast South Dakota, and our 30% risk does go into Wisconsin a little bit. 15% risk over to Montana, and we generally have a large 5% risk over the northern plains and the Midwest. Now, moving into Tuesday, this is going to be the first day of our main threat here, as our low pressure will start to form over here in Kansas. Hence, we have an enhanced risk. and that again is a 5% tornado risk. And it seems like our wind risk is in the same spot this time, also in Kansas. And our hail risk, slightly smaller, but we have a hatched risk again. So that day is going to be pretty significant. Now, this is our day 3. We already have a pretty large slight risk. Compared to yesterday, it did expand quite farther to the south. So I think if we do have an enhanced risk, it'll probably be somewhere like right in here, would be my guess. And I'm pretty sure it'll be upgraded to an enhanced risk. And we actually do have a day 4 severe weather outlook, and we do have it for the mid-Atlantic coast, stretching from North Carolina over to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And maybe even up to New York, it could be expanded. So, one other thing we gotta check really quick is our tropics look. Right now in the Atlantic, we're quiet. And in the Eastern Pacific, we do have an interesting system that has a 90% chance of developing. And this system is likely going to move from here and just kind of move right into Mexico. And that is all I have for you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.